Okay, good evening to you all. Let's start today's lesson. Otherwise, it will get late. So before starting today's lesson, tell me, are there any questions on assignments? So how many are there in your group in this batch? 40?
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes, miss.
Exactly, we don't know how many students are participating.
Yes.
Can I know, madam, how we are going to group it?
Yes, I asked you to get the idea of that. They told me that there are 42 students in the group. So they will send me the index numbers and your names. So then I will group you and I will inform you via
Okay, ma'am.
WhatsApp.
Okay, ma'am. Okay.
So already do you have any groups for other subjects?
No, ma'am. We don't have any groups.
Okay, then it's okay.
Okay.
I will let you know about your groups as soon as possible because still I didn't get your name list. That's the problem. Then you have 2 weeks more. According to the criteria, everyone in the group should present and everyone in the group should get the idea of overall all questions. That's the main thing. Random 1 or 2 questions may ask from each and every group. And it will be on same time. It means 7:30 on that day. So no limited number of slides are there, so you can decide it. Those are the things. Do you have any questions? You can ask. 25 are there. So I put assignment on your group today itself, and also it was on your LMS.
Yeah, ma'am. We went through the assignments.
Yes.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yes.
This is regarding individual assignment.
Yes, miss.
That means written assignment.
Yes.
Madam, the word count should be between 2,500 to 3,000. That means total answer for all the questions, no?
Yes, miss.
Okay.
So Afra asked, Madam, we didn't receive assignments yet. What happened to her? Are you not in the group, Afra?
Which group, ma'am?
Your B.Ed and PGDE group, common group?
I'm there.
So I put it today itself. And also, from last week, they put it into the LMS. What happened to you?
We didn't receive any messages, ma'am. Is anyone other? I'll double check, ma'am.
So today's last message is from me. It is. They told me that some of students are still not logged into the LMS. So you have to log into LMS, and if you have any problem, please ask from coordinator. So then he will help you. Because after the presentation also, you have to upload your presentations. In the first page of your presentation should be your group name of your group members and their index numbers. That will be easy. So Afra, if you didn't receive, please check it because others got it. Okay, let's move into today's lesson. That is our session 3. Session 3. In session 3, I will talk about measurements in cognitive domain and more. Measurements in cognitive domain. In previously, we also talk about that, but in detail, we will discuss about these things and then development of test items in cognitive domain. So under measurements in cognitive domain, we will discuss skills in cognitive domain and action verbs. Also, last session we did the action verbs to write specific objectives. Then in the 4th unit, development of test items. Under that, considerable fields to measure in cognitive domain. Then properties of assessment methods and assessment methods in cognitive domain. Those are the things we are going to do today. So first, skills in cognitive domain. As you know, in 1956, B.S. Bloom introduced 6 levels of cognitive domain. So this is a hierarchy. Hierarchy means we can't go to the upper level without obtaining the lower level. That is the specialty of that. So then the first level is knowledge, then comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. Then, you know, in 2001, Lauren Anderson and David Krathwohl revised this Bloom's initial framework. And there are several differences between Bloom's one and Anderson's one. So Bloom there, he used nouns to indicate the levels. But in revised version, they use verbs. And also in 5th level and 6th level, there are differences. So in Bloom's 5th level is synthesis. So synthesis changed into create in 2001 revision, Anderson's work. Then Bloom's one evaluation is at the top of the hierarchy, and Anderson's one evaluation is at 5th level. So those are the changes, and Anderson's one is more practicable than Bloom's one. So not only this, Bloom introduced these 6 levels, and also he introduced some sub-levels of these 6 levels. We will go through that. So under knowledge, knowledge is the first one. So under knowledge, he categorized the knowledge into three parts. So the first one is knowledge of specifics. Knowledge of specifics. It means the knowledge of specific things. So the first one is knowledge of terminology. You know what are terminology that is related to the specific subject areas. The terms related to the specific subject areas. As example, in the educational field, we use psychomotor, affective, cognitive. So those are the terminologies in education field. So knowledge, second one, knowledge in specific facts. Those are the general knowledge. So the specific time periods, specific name of the specific people. So the father of free education like that, and the specific basic equations of some science, maths subjects. Those are the knowledge of specific facts. So then, second one, knowledge of the ways and means of dealing with specifics. Under that, he discussed about 5 things. So the first one is knowledge of conventions. Conventions means signs like punctuation marks, symbols. Those are the conventions. So the knowledge of general conventions, that is it. Knowledge of general conventions like the road signs. By looking at the road sign, we can interpret it. This is that, like that. So the punctuation marks, question marks, full stop, those are the general things. So then second one is knowledge of trends and sequences. That is some order. It means ascending order, descending order, and also it includes alphabetical order and the life cycles of insects. Also the eras, those are sequences. Then knowledge of classifications and categories. There we categorize something according to our knowledge and we classify something. That is like, so we classify living beings into feminine and masculine. And also we can classify the nouns into active nouns and inactive nouns. And also we can, yes, categorize the animals like that. So then fourth one is knowledge of criteria. Knowledge of criteria. It means according to several criteria, we classify something. That is according to some criteria, we can classify words into nouns, verbs like that. Then prepositions are there. And also according to some classifications, according to some criteria, we can categorize the students in the class. Those are the examples. So then fifth one, knowledge of methodology. So the knowledge of methodology, that is the knowledge of general knowledge of some methods in the country. That is the methods we have to use in the laboratory, ethics like that. Those are the methodology. So what is the methodology of doing some practicals? Those are the examples. So the third part of knowledge is knowledge of universals and abstractions in a field. Under that, knowledge of principles and generalizations. It means knowledge of some scientific facts, knowledge of some theories, and in education field, psychology, you know, stimulus generalization, like Pavlov's experiment. Pavlov did it with a dog, food and bell. So without food also dog salivate. So that is called stimulus generalization. So that depends on the nature of the subject. So the second one is knowledge of theories and structures. According to that generalization, we can get the knowledge of some theories and the structures of atoms. Those are the examples. So the second level is comprehension. Comprehension is understanding the learned thing, understanding the knowledge, understand about the knowledge. So under that, he categorize it into three parts. Translation. There, translation means translate the details of a figure, details of a picture into your language, or translate the language, the thing explained by the language into a picture, or translate something in one language into another language, like translating Sinhala into English, English into Tamil, like that. That is translation. Then interpretation. So then we have to interpret. We have to understand the specific things about the things. As examples, so the numbering orders, odd numbers, even numbers, and also we can interpret by looking at the order, we can interpret the other terms. That is it. Interpretation. By looking at the things, we can interpret the future behavior. So then extrapolation is prediction. So with the interpretation, it means interpretation. Another example for interpretation is by looking at the bar diagram, histogram, or bar chart, we can interpret some behaviors of the things. If the bar chart is on students' attendance and the number of students and the number of days attending, so by looking at the chart, we can interpret those data. It means we can get some idea about the percentage of attending school of students, like that. That is interpretation. By getting interpretation, the extrapolation is prediction. So according to the given data or given diagram, by looking at the given graph, we can extrapolate. We can predict the future behavior. That is extrapolation. Interpretation is explaining something within that range. Extrapolation is predicting something beyond that range. So the third one is application. That is the practical usage of those knowledge. So then analysis, again three parts. Analysis of elements. So clearly understand the difference between analysis and synthesis. Analysis and synthesis are opposite to each other. So analysis is the ability to break down materials into small parts. That is analysis. So opposite to that, synthesis is ability to put all parts together to form a new whole, new one. So those are opposite to each other. Analysis of elements. It means according to our knowledge, we have to break down our knowledge into several parts. That is analysis of elements. It means if you are given a paragraph, we have to break down it into several parts and understand it. That is analysis. And then the relationship means we have to find the relationship among those breakdown parts. And then we have to find the principles related to those parts. That is organizational principles. So example for analysis of element is the management hierarchy, and this one is also cognitive domain hierarchy. Those are that is the hierarchy. So then we analyze the levels of that hierarchy, that is the elements. And then like now we are doing that. By looking at those elements, we are trying to find the relationship among those parts, those levels. And then we go to the principles of that. That is the best example analysis. So then synthesis. Here synthesis is the ability to put all parts together and form a new one. It means form a new production. Here you have to clearly understand that in synthesis, new production means production of that is the mental production of mentality. It means production of not physical thing. So the production of physical things goes to psychomotor domain. So last day also some of you have doubts of that. So please clearly understand synthesis is creation of new things in mental side. It means mental production is synthesis. So physical products are on psychomotor domain. So that is as example, so the creation of a poem and creation of a dialogue between child and the bee, between child and the bird. Those are the examples. And also writing a story. So there are also synthesis, 3 parts. Production of a unique communication. That is unique one. They have to create the new one. And the production of a plan or proposed set of operations. Another one. So proposals. We have to give proposals on projects. That is on synthesis. Production of a proposed plan or production of a proposal on some projects like garbage management or anything in your school or anywhere. So the third one is derivation of a set of abstract relations. Abstract means not the real world, that is the actually creativity. The ability to create something which are not in the real world. That is beyond the limit, out of the box, like that. Abstract relation. So evaluation, there are 2 types, judgments in terms of internal evidence. Here we have to evaluate in terms of internal evidence, and second one, external evidence or external criteria. In evaluation process, at the evaluation process, we have to be careful because evaluation is very tough. Actually, it depends on several internal factors and external factors. As example, if I say like this, if you assume that if we give an assignment on maths to the student, so one student gets 20 marks out of 100 marks for that assessment. So it doesn't mean that the child's achievement is very low, because that 20 marks, for the 20 marks, there are some several reasons. There may be some several reasons. Those reasons may because of internal reasons or external reasons. Internal reasons means that child may very clever child, but at that moment, his or her mental condition, his or her health conditions, physical condition, he may not physically fit for that test. It means there may be some illness. So those are the internal things of that child. And if all those internal things are okay, there may be some external things. There may be some environmental problems. So big noises, there may be some quarrels around the class. So because of those things, the judgment should judgment should be very judgment should be given very carefully, and the teacher should carefully give attention to those things. Otherwise, our judgment may not fair. We will discuss about these things. So those are the analysis of basic 6 levels of Bloom's taxonomy in cognitive domain. So then, these are the action verbs we have to use to write specific objectives, as I told you earlier, told you last day. These words will help you to write your lesson plans. So in knowledge, we use identifies, names, defines, describes. Examples, so the child will be able to identify the parts of a tree. So that is one objective. That is the example. So then comprehension, we use explains, predicts, converts, changes, contrasts, application, demonstrates, differentiates, yes, demonstrates, computes, solves, uses. In analysis, differentiates, estimates, separates, subdivides, and divides. Synthesis, creates, plans, summarizes, builds, construct, composes. Evaluation, judges, criticizes, compares, justify, and concludes. So then this is a small activity. I'll give you 1 or 2 minutes. Please go through these items and check, find whether which level of cognitive domain can be categorized these items. So level means knowledge, comprehension, application, analysis, synthesis, and evaluation. So you have to define whether the given items are going to which level in the cognitive domain. There are, yes, 10 items. So first go through these 5 items and try to find. Okay, let's discuss. The student creates the poem on the beauty of the morning. Can anyone tell me what is the level?
Synthesis, ma'am.
Synthesis.
Yes, very good. That is synthesis. So the second one, the student will be able to describe the characteristics of sound.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yes, that is knowledge. Very good. Third one, the student will be able to distinguish between an atom and a molecule.
Analysis.
Analysis.
Yes, analysis. Very good. Fourth one, the student will be able to predict the location of the moon in the daytime sky.
Comprehension.
Other answers?
Synthesis,
Evaluation.
application. Synthesis,
Application.
Not application. Prediction is there. Where is the prediction?
Comprehension, ma'am.
Comprehension, yes, comprehension. He predict the location of moon in the daytime sky. Comprehension, it is the prediction. So fifth one, a child recites the English alphabet.
Knowledge.
Yes, knowledge.
wait,
Please mute your mic. Who is that? Okay, then let's move into the next slide. Are there any questions in these 5 items? Others?
no ma'am.
Okay, go through these 5 also. Okay, let's discuss. Sixth one. The student identifies the subject, verb, and object of the given sentences.
Knowledge.
Knowledge,
Here he identified the parts.
Analysis.
comprehension,
Yes. Not comprehension. Here,
knowledge,
Analysis.
knowledge,
analysis. No, here he identified the parts of a sentence. Subject, verb, and object. So there is the whole thing. So analysis is the ability to break down the materials into small parts. No, Here, the given sentence, he break down the sentence into as subject, verb, and object. He identified the parts. So it becomes analysis. Analysis. So analysis. Understood? Yes. Then seventh one. The child will be able to put punctuation marks correctly for the given paragraph and rewrite it.
Application.
Others?
It's also
Knowledge.
analysis. Knowledge. Knowledge.
There is knowledge is there, but here the child apply that knowledge, no? So as the first student said, it is, yes, application. He applied the knowledge to mark the punctuation marks. So that is application. Eighth one, the student defines the noun correctly. What is that?
Knowledge.
Yes, knowledge. Ninth one, the student evaluates the service of Dr. C.W.W. Kannangara on the education field in Sri Lanka.
Analysis.
Evaluation.
Evaluation.
Yes, evaluation. Analysis, there is no subparts, no. So he evaluates. The student evaluates the service of Kannangara. That is evaluation. Last one, the student describes the formation of the rainbow.
Synthesis.
Comprehension.
Knowledge.
Knowledge.
Yes, knowledge is there. He described the formation of rainbow. According to the learned things, the student describe how the rainbow is formed. But synthesis is not there. Synthesis means producing the new thing. That is not new thing. He just repeat the knowledge. So that is knowledge. Comprehension, not that far. He just described the formation of rainbow. Not translation, interpretation or extrapolation there. So if the comprehension is there, there should be translation or interpretation or extrapolation. So those three terms are not here. So that becomes under knowledge. Are there any questions? Okay, then this is our fourth topic, development of test items in cognitive domain. So under that, 4.1, considerable fields to measure in cognitive domain. Considerable fields to measure in cognitive domain. To get measurements in cognitive domain, we have to consider these 5 fields. Those fields are, it means the cognitive domain measurements are there to measure those fields. 1 or 2 or more fields of these, out of these 5 fields. So the first one is subject achievement. Achievement, subject achievement. Actually, usually we do this subject achievement, that is achievement using achievement test. We can do it. Can anyone tell me what are example for achievement test? You know about these things. The thing is the new terms here. Achievement, subject achievement. What are the achievement tests? Give me an example. Just try.
Scholarship.
Yes. Yes, miss?
A term test.
Yes, term test. Also,
Assignments.
yes,
Assignments.
assignments. Yes, those are achievement tests. Using achievement test, we can measure the achievement of required subject field of the students. But actually, there are some standard achievement tests in universally. If you search some standard achievement tests, you can get more examples. But in Sri Lanka, we don't use such standard achievement tests. Those achievement tests in Sri Lanka are done by teachers on also. Therefore, for those to do those achievement tests, so the subject experts are necessary in our country because there are no standard achievement tests here. That is why for paper marking in O-level, A-levels and other national examinations, they hire the teachers, subject expert teachers for paper marking. Because those are achievement tests, so others can't mark them. Subject subject leaders should be there to assess them. Subject professionals should be there. So those are achievement tests and subject achievement. So to measure subject achievement, we have to use achievement tests. So the second one, learning disabilities. Can anyone tell me what are the learning disabilities? You may have more experiences on those children's learning disabilities.
Short sight, long sight problems. Is that?
Yes, that is one problem. Long-sightedness, short-sightedness. So
Hearing issues.
reading issues. Yes, very good. Sometimes you may know some children can't identify B and D. They also write B and D in different sides. So those are some of the learning disabilities. They may be because of genetic problems or environmental problems. So the teachers are there to find out the learning disabilities of the students. Actually, in Sri Lanka, most of the teachers are not expert to find out those disabilities. Because of the heavier burden on teachers, they don't have much time. There are some more practical issues on that. But somehow teachers try to find those learning disabilities of children. So according to researchers, in Sri Lanka, there are about 5% to 15% students who are suffering from learning disabilities. So some students' cognitive skills may not develop according to other children's. So their cognitive development is more slower than others. So therefore, we have to identify what is the particular student, what is the particular disability of that children. And is it on the particular subjects or all subjects? And is there any behavioral changes, abnormal behavioral changes of the students like that? If we don't identify those disabilities, the student may suffer on that mentally, and they may give several abnormal performances in the school, in the classroom. Actually, diagnostic tests are used here. To identify learning disabilities, we have to use diagnostic tests. But unfortunately, in Sri Lanka, there are no, the diagnostic tests are no more popular. So actually diagnostic tests are done by special doctors who are special on those areas. So the teachers don't use diagnostic tests. So somehow it is useful to know about those learning disabilities and diagnostic tests as teachers. That's why it's here. So that is related to cognitive domain, learning disabilities. So the under learning disabilities, actually, in primary classes, teachers, most of the teachers can identify the short-sightedness, long-sightedness of the students, because some of they can't identify the letters in the boards. So actually, those primary teachers normally do that. In their level, they do that, especially in primary teachers. So it's there. But in methodologically, there's no diagnostic test in Sri Lanka, more popular. So that's it. So then the third one, intelligence. That is very famous thing, and intelligent tests are there, IQ tests, intelligent qualification tests are there. So intelligence, actually in Sri Lanka, we measure most of the intelligence field of students. So in student schooling times, the students who perform well means their intelligence level is high, because in our curriculum we are mostly concerned about the intelligence side. So the best performances have more intelligence than others. It means others are not weak, but they don't have such intelligence, and they have some other skills. They may have some other skills like psychomotor skills, like that. But as I told you earlier, there are no tests to identify those things. So the fourth one is creativity. Actually, we can find the creativity of students. Creativity comes under synthesis. Actually, it comes under synthesis. So creativity is out of the box thinking. It means divergent thinking. The special ability of special students. Some students, they have the ability of divergent thinking. It means they think out of the knowledge. They can predict, they can predict, actually not predict, they can create something which are not in the real world. That is creativity. And divergent thinking is there, that divergent thinking ability is there. So we can measure it using using some test in cognitive domain, like essay questions, structured essay questions. We can find the students' creativity. So that goes to higher order cognitive skills, creativity. So then challengeability. Challengeability is the ability to change the knowledge in future to do and to face several unpredicted situations in the life. That is challengeability. So that is the capacity, special capacity of children. They can grab the knowledge, and ultimately they can use it in a better way. So we can measure it using aptitude tests. You know about aptitude test. You may face for several aptitude tests in state examinations like that. Aptitude tests are there to measure challengeability of students. That is also in upper level of cognitive skills. So those are the considerable fields. With some test items, if you take a test item, they may not represent all 5 fields, but they should represent one or at least one field of these out of these 5 fields. That is this. Yes, someone said dyslexia, and also autism. Those are some of the learning disabilities. Actually, learning, yes, they are also learning disabilities. Also, teachers have to find if there are dyslexia. If there are dyslexia, autism, there are some medications there. So teachers have to direct them to the particular treatments. Then that is fields to measure cognitive domain. Then 4.2, that is properties of assessment methods. There are about 6 properties of assessment methods. So the first one is validity. Validity and reliability are also correlated topics, and we will discuss about these two things in next sessions. So in order to get a rough idea, just think validity. Validity is the appropriateness of the test. We have to check whether the test is suitable to obtain the learning outcome. That is validity. As example, if you want to measure the students' writing and reading skills, and if you give them an assessment only on short writing questions, using that question, we can measure only the writing skill of the children, not the reading skill. Therefore, that assessment is not a valid assessment to our learning objectives. That is validity. So that the validity is one of the qualities in our test. So using validity, we can improve the quality of our test, and then there are several types of validities. We will discuss in detail. Until then, there are several types of validities. That is subject validity. To find the subject validity, we have to use blueprints. We have to use blueprints to find the subject validity of the tests. That is why in to make in the national level or any term test assessment, we have to use, it is better to use a blueprint to include the subject validity of the test. Then the second one is criterion validity, then concurrent validity, predictive validity. There are several types of validities. So then, if the validity is there is reliability. If the test has validity, the reliability is there. In other side, if the reliability is there, we can't say the validity is there. So then the reliability is the consistency. Consistency obtained by using the measuring instrument. Measuring instrument means measuring item. Assessment test or oral test or anything. Reliability. To gain reliability, we have to use test retest reliability, internal consistency, and inter-rater reliability. You can remember in the evaluation field, I told you that we have to evaluate. When evaluating, we have to be careful because there are some internal and internal evidences and external evidences. So there, reliability is there. Reliability and validity is there. As I told you in the example, if there are some problems in the students, mentally or physical problem, so the mark of the student may change according to that. To get rid of that type of problems, we have to use retest reliability method. Test retest means we have to give same test for several times by giving the gap between 1 or 2 weeks for the same students. Then we find the correlational coefficient. We will discuss about correlation coefficients and all things later. So reliability is there. Then inter-rater reliability. As I told you, there may be some problems of the evaluator. There may be some mental problems. The evaluator may not in health. So there may be because of the mental problems or physical problem of the evaluator, the marks may change. So in order to get rid of those types of problems, we have to use inter-rater reliability. It means we mark the same assessment by using 2 or 3 markers. That is it. Like that, we have to increase. Always the examination department is also try to give the validity and reliability to the tests. That is why in paper marking also, you know, in paper marking we use if we mark some papers, so the other markers also check our marking. That is in order to get the reliability of the marks. That is that. Those are the practical examples. So then fairness is fairness. You know, fairness is our test should be fair to all types of. There are visual learners, there are auditory learners, there are kinesthetic learners. You may learn of those learners in psychology also. So then there are several learners. So our assessment should be fair to all types of learners. And also there are some learning disability children with some learning disability. There are some children with learning disabilities. So our assessment should be somehow fair for all types of students. That is there. So then practicality and efficiency. Our test should be practical. So it is unnecessary. It is not actually it is the validity is not there if our test is not practical. So always try to give them a practicable questions. It means not abnormal questions. That is that. Then ethics in the assessment. You know about that. Ethics confidentially. So so in 3 parts, teachers can't post the grades of the students in public. And also teacher can't display the wrong words which the students use in the test as examples. We can say without mentioning the names or index numbers or something, but we can't display as it is by taking photographs, and it is ethically it is wrong. So the third one is teachers cannot distribute test papers. You know about that. There are a few problems on that also. So we in ethically we can't distribute the papers prior to the exam. And also then the second one is test security. Test security. In order to gain test security, you know, the examination department try to give the test security by keeping the security guards there, and also they transport the papers and evaluation sheets also by keeping the guardians. So those are test security. Then test scores and interpretation. Using the student scores, we have to interpret the data and give the evaluation report. I told you about the evaluation report. Then fourth one, test publication. It means we have to public, we have to give the grades. It means we have to out the results of the particular test by keeping those ethics in order. So those are the properties we have to obey. So some student ask about the groups. Still, I don't group you for the assignments. During next week, I will group you and let you know through the WhatsApp, through your WhatsApp group.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Yes, then you can group within you and make the PowerPoint presentation. Okay, then let's move into the next part, that is on assessment methods in cognitive domain. Last day also we talked something about these things, but in detail we'll discuss about these things. In cognitive tests, there are 2 types of tests, oral test and written test. So oral test. So what is the test we can give during the lesson? We can evaluate the students during the lesson. What is the special assessment name? There are 2 types of
assessment.
Sorry?
Formative.
I can't.
Formative assessment.
Formative assessment. Yes, formative. So at the end of the lesson, that assessment is
Summative.
Summative assessment. So in oral test, there are formal oral test and informal oral test. Formal oral test means during our lesson plan, we plan there at this moment, I have to group the students, or I have to stand up the student and ask this type of questions to measure their knowledge or to get the motivation to the other section, like that. Pre-planned oral tests are there. So it can be done as formative or summative. It can be done during the test and also after the at the end of the test. So the other type is informal oral test. That is unplanned test. That is most probably that is formative type. For example, during the lesson, you can you notice that there is a student who doesn't give the attention to the lesson. So at that moment, you can point out that student and ask some oral questions regarding the lesson. So that is informal oral test. Then the written test. Actually, before that, actually oral test also in aesthetic subjects like music, drama, you have to use oral test. And some practical tests also they are using oral tests. So then written tests. There are two types of written tests, supply test and selection type test. Supply means the student have to supply the answer. It means the student have to write or something. He has to supply the answer. Actually, he has to write something, write the answer in cognitive domain. No? So selection type is no need to write the answer. The student have to select the answer. So circle the answer or match the answer or underline the answer. So let's go through these two types of written test. So in written test, as I told you, supply and selection test. Supply test, short answer variety and extended answer variety. It means short answer questions. The student have to answer shortly. Then extended answer variety means the student have to extend the answer. It means that he has to explain the answer. So the under that we discuss about essay test and structured essay questions. Essay questions and structured essay questions. So selection type, matching variety. Matching questions. Then two alternative variety. Yes or no, correct, wrong. So you have to find one option out of two options. So the next one is MCQ variety, MCQ questions, multiple choice questions. There multiple choices are there. From those choices, the student have to select the correct or the most appropriate answer. So in generally, when you're looking at this structure, you can see that in MCQ answer, if there are 4 answers, it is too harder than 2 alternative answers. So like that, you can compare these items. It is easy to understand and easy to get an idea about those questions. So when you go back to the cognitive domain, then you can just think about that. When you go to the cognitive domain, then there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 types of questions there. Short answer questions, extended variety, matching, 2 alternatives, and MCQ varieties. So, can you guess at which level we can put the extended answer variety into which level in the hierarchy?
Evaluation.
Can't hear, miss?
Evaluation.
Yes, evaluation. So, using extended answer varieties, we can measure the students' higher order cognitive skills. What can you say about 2 alternatives? Can we measure the students' evaluation using two alternatives?
Yeah.
Can we measure?
Not much possible.
Can't hear, miss? Can you tell it again?
I think not much possible.
Yes, it's not much possible to measure higher order cognitive skills using two alternatives. So in the next slides, we will discuss about those advantages, disadvantages of those items. So it's better to get an idea about the comparison of those items. That's why I asked you. So then, that first one is supply type questions, short answer variety, supply type. Here example is there. Who stepped onto the moon first? So it is just an exact answer. So the franchise is given to Sri Lankan in the year. There you have to fill the blank. So using those, there are, by looking at these examples, you can see that there are two types of short answer questions. First one is question type and the second one is fill in the blank types. So as adult learners, by looking at this, you can categorize. There are two types of short answer questions. One is question type, other one is fill in the blanks. So, can we guess the answers here? Short answer type questions. Is there any possibility to guess the answer?
It is less. Guessing the answer is less there, ma'am.
Yes, guessing the answer is less. We can't guess. Actually, the student have to directly know the answer here. So that is one advantage here for short answer type. So advantages, it is easy to write test items. It is useful to continuous evaluation. Yes, actually there is a definite answer. So verification or evaluation is very easy here. Guessing is less. And the broad range of syllabus can be represented here using several short type questions. So the time duration for answer is less. Within short time period, we can, if the child knows the answer, he can write the answer within several seconds. But he doesn't know the answer, can't write the answer. Even he use 1 or 2 hours for the answer. So that is it. The time duration is less. And the questions that measure more subject matter can be applied, as I told you. So it is more appropriate to primary classes because it measures the simple knowledge. It means using short supply type questions, we can measure only knowledge and application here. No, knowledge and comprehension, not application actually. Knowledge and basically on knowledge, we can measure the basically knowledge and then sometimes we can measure comprehension. So the limitations, measure the simple learning outcomes limited to the knowledge. That is the opposite of that. Then the measuring complex thinking ability is difficult. It means we can't measure the students' complex thinking. It means analysis, evaluation, we can't measure those type of skills. So no opportunities. The students have no opportunities to write the long answers. Therefore, we can't measure the students' creativity like that. So actually, when when making the short type questions, it is better to make the questions with complete sentences. It means better to go to question type rather than fill in the blanks. It is not a principle, but it is better to go for that. So here the facts that we should consider in constructing short answer questions. That is, simple language should be used. That should be understandable. Then words should be without various meanings. So we have to use direct words. Then keeping sufficient space for the answer. We have to give sufficient space for the answer. Especially in fill in the blanks, we have to put sufficient space. So then it is better to leave only one blank. If you want to make a fill in the blank question, so it is better to give them the chance to fill only one blank. Try to not to give two blanks at one question. So then extracting sentences from textbooks is not appropriate here. So those are the limitations and advantages and considerable factors for short answer type questions. Then we go to the essay type questions. Now you know essay type. So the students will evaluate the character of something. Character of CWW Kannangara in education field. So not the character, the service of CWW Kannangara in education field, like that. The student has to discuss within the answer. So there you can, as you told you, there we can measure the students' creativity, analysis, and they are the space is there to students to synthesize something. So using essay type questions, the student have the freedom to present the answer. Those are good characteristics. And also we can measure higher order cognitive skills. And then, yeah, actually it affects the nature of learning and teaching both. By evaluating the answers, we can check whether our learning outcomes are there or not. Does the student grab our learning outcomes? So that affects the nature of learning. Using those answers, the student can take self-assessment also. If the student has more facts to give the answer, so it means the student acquire that knowledge. So it affects both learning and teaching. And also, it is easy to make questions, but the opposite of that is, it is not easy to mark the answers. It is weak characteristic there. So then fourth one, easy to make questions. Then focusing students for overweaving learn facts. So student has to think more beyond the teaching, beyond the learning things. So student has to think more. That is overweaving. Then students attempt to provide appropriate answer. The students has to get the attempt to provide appropriate answer there. The other student is active here, very much active in those type of questions. So the weak characteristics are, when looking at the answers, we can see that according to the understandability of the students, the answers may different. It means relevant and irrelevant information may provide for the answers by the students. Somehow we have to evaluate those things. Actually, the markers have to read all those things to evaluate them, whether it is relevant or irrelevant. Therefore, the markers have to ready to obtain all types of those questions, those answers. So the second one is the student can use some words with variety meanings. That is there. Then the students may mislead by using the action verbs such as I told you, inquire, explain, discuss. So within those terms, student may mislead. So discussion is beyond the explanation. When discuss something, we have to give more details rather than explanation. So sometimes student may mislead by those words. So fourth one, unclear perception of students. As I told you, that depends on the perception of students. It means sometimes some students perceive some questions in a wrong way. So their answer is in that view. That is why we can have relevant or irrelevant information there. So then lack of reliability of marking the answers. So the reliability is not there for essay type questions, because when marking the essay type questions, the marks given by the marker depends on the personal view and personal understanding and personal knowledge of the marker. For essay type questions, we can't make the particular marking scheme. That is there. That is called lack of reliability is there. So then time assuming for marking, very long time is consuming for marking. So the seventh one is subject validity is low. It means using essay type questions, we can't measure long range of subjects, long range of subject fields. We can measure only, we can give the answer, we can give the questions only for the limited area of the lesson. Therefore, subject validity is low. It means using that question, we can't measure wide range of subject knowledge here. That is subject validity. So validity and reliability is low in essay type questions. So the last one, weight of the questions are not equal. So there may be some questions with 10 marks and some other, the second part of that may give 5 marks or 4 marks. Assume that essay question consists of 3 questions. So the first question may take 4 marks, the other question may take 6 marks, and the last question may 10 marks. So that is why weight of the questions are not equal. So these are the examples. Let's discuss some weaknesses and good points there. So first example, evaluate the personal diversity illustrated by Anda Sutra. The second part of it, discuss the importance of learning aid. Third one, how razors are appropriate to children. It is so, inquire about the winning and defeating. What are the problems in this example 1? What can you say about this? Actually, one thing is when giving essay type questions, it is better to give the allocated marks there. So it guides the student or candidate the limitation of the words to the question, to the answer. If the length of the answer should differ by the student according to the marks. That is for 5-mark question, he has to write at least 1 page. For 10-mark questions, 1 page is not enough. That is there. One problem is there, and another one, evaluate the personal diversity illustrated by Andha Sutra, personal diversity. So the better directions are not there, and also discuss the importance of learning aid. Which type of learning aid? So the direction is not there also. How razors are appropriate to children. You see, it is so inquire about winning and defeating. So in generally, the candidate has to discuss about the advantages and disadvantages of razors within the children. Children means we have to, in the question, we have to define the children means which age range like that. This question is not a good question. So the second one, denote 4 facts that should be considered by the teacher in organizing a primary classroom. That's good, no? 4 facts. So the direction are there. Now the student know what the limitations there. Then denote 2 obstacles again available in organizing such a classroom, and denote in brief the thing you have to do for preventing them. So that's another good one, second part. Then the second part depends on the first part. So that's also okay. Third one, draw a classroom design appropriate to a lower primary class. So the 3 questions are correlated there and the directions are there. It's good. It's a good question. And it's better to allocate marks here also. So the third one, inquire the regulations of the 1972 Government Constitution, appointed as the most superior institution of the National Government Committee. That is open questions. So the student has to write the answers according to the personal view and the knowledge of that thing. That is the open question. It is better to give part by part. It is very clear like that in example 2. So the fourth one, discuss the power and the function of the executive president under the following headlines. That is also good. We have to discuss about the executive president under these guidelines. Government leader, leader of executive presidency, and leader of the cabinet. That's also a good question. It means the student know that equal marks are allocated for the discussion of these three headlines. That is there. So then, let's discuss about the problems and suggestions about the essay type questions. So the problems, here number 1 is wrong here. So the first one, the variance of the examiner. As I told you about the reliability. So when we mark the answers, it depends on the examiner. So that is the variance of the examiner. That is the negative side of the essay type questions. Actually, it depends on the personal view on the examiner. Then the variance occurred in applying the method for marking script. We can't make the proper marking script for these type of questions. Then the variance occurred in spending the time for marking the scripts. Actually, the markers have to consume more time on this, on marking these script. And also it depends on the experience of the marker. For the most experienced marker, the consuming time may less than the new markers. Then the variance occurred in the number of questions included in the test. So there may be, as in the example, there may be one open question or there may be subparts of the question. That is there. Then the variance occurred in the number of examiners involved for marking. So sometimes some papers, they have second marking and third marking there. So it depends on that. According to the markers, according to their views, so the again and again the marks will be changed. So then the suggestions for improving the essay type questions, it is better to plan using the table of specifications. As I told you, the blueprint. Before planning the test, we have to make a small blueprint. Then using definite action verbs. We have to use definite action verbs, not like discuss, interpret. So if you explain, those are some verbs which the students may mislead. Therefore, we have to use definite action verbs. Then using the model answers in marking the scripts. At least it is better to make a marking scheme at the position where you create the problem, where you create the question. At that moment, it is better to make the marking scheme also. That is a good point. At least you can put down, you can take down the obtained answers in point form. Then you can check whether you can take it as the structure for the marking scheme. Then fifth one, marking the answers using an analytical methods. So the marker have to use more analytical methods to mark the answers. So again, it depends on the ability of the marker. Therefore, that's why we have to use, as I told you earlier, we have to use subject experts for marking such type of questions. And multi-evaluation. We have to do multi-evaluations, or it means we have to use two markers. Or if one marker is there, he has to evaluate the answer two times. Then using panel of mark, it's better. We have to use marking panel, like paper marking in O-level, A-levels. So then we go to structured essay type questions. So there are 9 methods of structuring essay questions. So that is first one, provision of a frame for the answer through the question. So the structured type essay questions, there are 9 methods. First one is we give the frame to the candidate to answer the question like this. Example, inquire briefly the changes occurred in renovating 1924 government constitution under the following headings. Briefly, he has to discuss briefly under the following headings. So there, the frame is given here, the committee of the constitution, the financial committee, and the entitled power of the governor. So the second method is constructing the question with parts like this. What are the major steps that should be followed by a test maker in constructing an achievement test? So the candidate has to write the major steps. Second one, introduce selection type question with examples that can be used to a test paper. So here you have to give examples, at least 1 or 2 examples. Then discuss the importance of using various types of questions for measuring achievements. So here the candidate has to know about is it is an essay type or structured essay. If it is the essay is structured essay type, no need to give so too long answers. If the verb action verb discuss is there, you have to discuss it in brief. So the third one is mention the things that should be done or should not be done in the provision of the answer. For the example, think that organization of producers set the floor price of a good that should be sold by social producers. What are the changes that will be happen by such involvement? Explain with a diagram. Here we know what to do. We have to write the changes and we have to explain it with a diagram. So it's clear. So there the things that should be done is mentioned here. Number 2, think that there is a constant supply of any good or service and there exists an excess demand under the current price. Present the above explanation by using a diagram. So the next example, what are the changes occurred in the competitive market economy because of the following things? Customer make a high demand for the good because the changes of customer choice. Then the production cost will decrease on technology changes. Show changes step by step. No need to draw diagrams. Here, should not be done is mentioned here. No need to draw diagrams. In other parts, should done parts are here. So the first one, constructing questions based on tables. You know, based on tables, we can ask questions, structuring questions. Then based on pictures, based on graphs, we can ask structured questions. That is there. As number 4, 5, and 6. Then seventh one, question based on an illustration. Example, elite people should be responsible for creating French Revolution. Creating French Revolution. Explain the statement by considering the contribution of following categories. Kings, elite people, middle class, and mass. So illustrate, you have to illustrate, explain the given statement. You have to explain the illustration. Explain the given instruction under these categories. 8th one, structure in the question giving the length of the answer. As example, instructing to restrict the answer to a page or 2 pages or number of words. Here the limitations are given for the candidate. So 9th one, controlling the answer by giving marks like this. Here we don't give any limitations, but we give marks. So according to the marks, the candidate has to take an idea about the length of the answer. What is pre-process of chorus in Greek drama? Then how does the chorus make in the libation bears drama of Aeschylus? Then to whom they are partiality? Then show how this chorus participate this drama actively. Those are the 9 methods of constructing structured essay questions. Then if we discuss the, no, we don't discuss it. If we discuss the advantages and limited of the structured questions, advantages are we can cover wide range of subject. It means somehow subject validity is there by comparing with essay type questions. Then somehow it is easy to mark the answers, no? By comparing with essay type questions. Like that, you can compare both structured and essay questions. So then, matching variety. Here we are going to discuss about selection type questions. Not supply type, but selection type. First one, matching variety. In matching variety, there are two parts in the question. One part is stimulus. Stimulus is the question part or the body part. And the responses, those are the answers or matching parts like that. Then, using matching variety, we can measure only simple knowledge. Maximally comprehension. Rather than that, we can't measure higher order cognitive skills here. So here you can see column A contains a list of novels, column B contains a list of authors. B, selecting the authors in column B, write the number of the blank given. Here I want to take your attention to this question. Here, in the matching variety, clearly we have to give the description on both sides. Here, in this question, it clearly explains that column A contains list of novels and then column B contains list of authors. Now, then the instruction is there. You have to select the authors from column B and write it in the given blank. So, the clear instructions are there. So, those are the considerable sites we have to use in matching in making matching variety questions. That is a good question. And another feature is inside A there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 responses, and in B part, in B side there are 7 stimulus. Sorry, 7 responses. So in the standard matching variety, it is better to have one or more responses than stimulus. There are only, you can see there are only 6 stimulus and 7 responses. So it is better by using this type of this method, we can reduce the ability to guessing the answer by the candidate. If the number of both sides, the responses are equal, we can, the guessing ability is high here. Therefore, we have to use more responses than stimulus. So the stimulus are one side, responses are in the other side. So by mistake, I told you that the stimulus is the question. No, stimulus is not the question. In the matching question or matching type variety, there are two parts. So the first part is stimulus and the other part is responses. So this is the question part or the body part. Body of the question is here. So the second example, several scientific inventions contains in column A. Again, good question. Column A. It is there are several scientific inventions. So column B, it contains relevant scientists. Select the scientists for each invention and write the relevant letter here. Here, number of stimuluses are 5 and the number of responses are also 5. Here, the guessing probability is high here. So it is better to have more responses than stimulus. That weakness is here in example 2. So another example is here. Select from the prices of column B those that correspond to the items in column A. Here items, it means the items means they are, the prices are there. Yes, items in column A, and write down its number in relevant bracket. Again, instructions are okay there. And also 4 stimulus are there and 5 responses are there. So it is also a good matching variety question. But when we use matching varieties, we have to check whether this type of question is suitable for matching variety. Actually, when you're looking at this type of questions are suitable for matching varieties. What can you say about this? 6 pencils, rupees 5 each, and 4 exercise books at 12 each. Then, what shall we do? What the candidate should do here? Here, 6 pencils at 5 each and 4 exercise books at 12 each. So, the in one side, instructions are not clear according to the stimulus. If it is the stimulus, the instruction should be there to find out the total cost like that. It's not here. So by looking at the responses as stimulus, we can get the idea of what to do. But that weakness is there. And also, is it good to put this type of stimulus in matching variety? What can you say about that? Anyone? Ms. Dhananjana?
I think, ma'am, it's not so good to.
Yes, Miss, very good. It is not so good to use such type of questions in matching variety. So simply we can give it as a direct question. So those that weakness is here. So here, so you have to get an idea about what are the factors we should consider when using matching varieties. Actually, this part is very, very important to you as teachers. If you are given the chance to make a paper, so keep in mind you have to make very, very good questions by keeping those things in mind. So that will depict your professionality. So the factors that should consider, the size of the list of the stimulus and responses must be greater, as I told you one. Then the second one, stimulus must be included to our same type. So both is stimulus should be in the same type and the responses should be in the same type. Here, see, in the first stimulus, it is about pencil. Second one, it is about diesel. Third one, it is about meters. Fourth one, it is about kilogram. So both all are not in same type. Responses all are in rupees, so that is in same type. So this is not a good one. So the next one, it should be prevented by writing long sentences. We should use short sentences. So the stimulus response must be included to the syllabus. Out of the syllabus, it is not suitable to give out of the syllabus. So then two alternative variety. You can see if we use two alternative variety, the guessing ability is 50%. In matching variety, the guessing ability is lower than 50%. But in two variety questions, it is 50% guessing ability is there. So those are some drawbacks of two alternative varieties. So the example, the author of the novel Malagiya Atto is Edirisinghe Sarachandra. Is Edirisinghe Sarachandra, right or wrong? So those are the examples. Then is Edirivira Sarachandra author of the novel Malagiya Atto? What can you say about this? The author of the novel Malagiya Atto is Edirivira Sarachandra. By looking at these two, is Edirivira Sarachandra author of the novel Malagiya Atto? Yes. According to the stem, this is called stem. This part in the two alternative variety, this is stem. These are alternatives. So according to the stem, the author of the novel Malagiya Atto is Edirivira Sarachandra. Right or wrong? So according to the stem, we have to write the alternatives. If it is yes or no, that is not suitable, right? Wrong. So the second one, it is question, is Edirivira Sarachandra author of the novel Malagiya Atto? There we have to select yes or no. According to the stem, we have to give the alternatives. Sri Lanka is an island, right or wrong? India is a continent, like that. So the second one, if the following statements are correct, put R, wrong, put W. Draw circles around R and W. If the statements are correct to the other side, it means wrong or right, then we have to circle OK and OW. OK and OW, not. That is not clear actually. OW. If the following statements are correct, we have to, first statement is correct and the second one is wrong, we have to select RW. If the other side, if the first one is wrong and the other side is correct, we have to select OW. That is it. If it is a dog, it is an animal. Like in logic question. If it is a cobra, it's a reptile. Mammals have a spine. If it is an island, like that. So here the instructions are actually not clear what to do, and those drawbacks are there. But in two alternative variety also, we can measure only the simple cognitive skills. Good characteristic and good types we can evaluate easily. It is used to measure simple knowledge. The suits to primary classes and large subject content can be covered here. So the weaknesses are extracting facts directly from textbooks will make mistakes, opportunities for speculation, and educators are unable to agree with some statements. And actually for marking, the subject experts are not required here. Anyone can mark the answers. So the last one, MCQ variety. Here, multiple choice questions. You know that if there are four choices, the guessing ability is 25. If there are 5 choices, guessing ability is 20. So number of choices are increasing, the guessing ability is decreasing. So MCQ questions, using MCQ questions, we can measure much more cognitive skills. It means rather than knowledge, we can measure comprehension and application also. If we carefully make powerful MCQs, actually we can measure higher order cognitive skills also. But it is rare, but we can. And also when giving alternatives for MCQs, all MCQ should be in, if it is a numbering, those alternatives should be in ascending or descending order. There should be an order. And also, if the stem and the alternative should be matching each other. If it is a incomplete question, so the alternatives are given to complete that question. If it is a question type question, the alternatives there as the answers. You can see it in the examples. Question variety. This is question variety. So where is the chemical factory situated in Sri Lanka? So the answers are in Ampara, in Negombo, in Kankasanture, in Parantham. The second type of MCQ is in incomplete statement. That is, the incomplete statement is there, and from alternatives, those that sentence should be completed. The United Nations Trade and Development Conference is referred in abbreviation as answers. So then the negative variety. Actually, remember, more negative variety questions are not appropriate for stand-in paper, for a stand-in paper. So which of the quality that should not possess? If the negative varieties are there, we have to highlight that word not here. In order to prevent the mislead of the candidate. So that is it. So the next one, related type variety. This is from this type of questions we can measure more cognitive domain skills. So the several varieties are given there. Among them, we have to find what are the correct answers. So then the best answer here, what is the most appropriate expression here? Best answer variety. Like that, there are 5 varieties of MCQ questions. So factors that should be considered are simple words. We should use simple words, and authentic words should be used. Authentic, more practical words should be used. Example, in order to ensure mental pressure of listener through a printed or expressed set of words should be incomplete sentence varieties here. So short and pleasant to hear, like that. Simple words are using here according to the subject. That depends on the subject. And then unnecessary statements or expressions should not be included here. Here the unnecessary explanation is here in this example. So that is not needed. That is it. So the first, if you read this, the first sentence is not necessary here. So fourth one, unnecessary dues should not be included in the stem and the choices. From the ancient times, the Muslims have attempt like that. So from the ancient times, it is not need here according to the question. So another question example is there. Give the answer which shows the order of use in currencies in such countries. Britain, Russia. Give the answer is not need here. So repetition of words is we have to get rid of repetition words. Then order should be followed. When using digits, as I told you earlier, digits, years, percentages, the answer should be in ascending or descending order. Then the position of correct choice should be randomly included. If the all correct choice is third choice that is not suitable. So the correct choice should be randomly included. Then the problem must be included in the stem. Correct? Clearly, the problem should be in the stem. Here, this is not good. The chief minister, we don't know what is the problem here. The stem, the alternatives are with the problem. Is the leader, so that is not a good question. So strength and weaknesses are there as we talk. Can give quick responses. Large subject matter can be covered. It means subject validity is there. Easy to mark. Evaluation is easy. Reliability is easy. Subjectivity doesn't affect. And best question type for measuring memory. If taking more care of constructing, as I told you, we can measure higher order skills. Weaknesses, inconvenience of evaluating subject knowledge, constructing questions is tedious, it always guessing the answers, ability is high. It doesn't allow the students to give independent answers. We can't develop students writing and composition creating skills. Those are the things which I wanted to talk with you, and time is late now. So thank you. Are there any questions you can ask? So then please compare those things and take the idea, keeping those things in mind when constructing your own paper. That depicts your professionality as PGDE and BEd students. So then thank you very much for your active participation.
Thank you, madam. Good night.
Okay, good night.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.
Yes, welcome.
Thank you, ma'am. Good night.